So after yesterday's unfortunate news of Xbox shutting down 4 of their internal first-party studios, it's becoming more and more clear what's next for Xbox. Let's look into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I'm sure you have heard the news. Yesterday Microsoft announced that they will be shutting down 4 of their internal studios, first-party studios, Bethesda studios for the most part really, which is obviously sad news, especially studios like Tango or Arcane, for example. And I know that there's 2 Arcane studios, so we're talking about Arcane Montreal. And I know that Redfall was a flop, but in the past they did make really good games like Prey and Dishonored 1, I think, and they did work on some other games in the past. Tango, was responsible for Hi-Fi Rush, Ghostwire Tokyo, and Evil Within, and a couple of other titles too. And I know that what's his name, Mishimi Kami, I think his name was, he left the studio, and some people say that there was no leadership anymore, like in the studio, that they really couldn't figure out what to do next. Who knows, maybe that's the case, but maybe they should hire somebody who could actually move that forward. I don't know, I don't really know what happened there. I don't really know exactly, nobody really knows exactly why these 4 studios were closed. But it is what it is. It's really sad to see, especially Tango and Arcane go, but other studios probably too. Although they were not really making games per se, they were more like a support studios. I'm talking about the other 2 studios. But anyway, that happened or is happening. It's probably going to take a while before they will be gone like completely. But the fact of the matter is that I think it's becoming more and more clear now what's the future of Xbox, and we've kind of had a taste of it in the last couple of weeks, months, with all the rumors of Microsoft going multi-platform and everything, right? And I had some doubts about how far multi-platform they would go, especially at the very beginning of this year or like next year. But with all these unfortunate news of like letting people go or moving them around, because I think one studio we're talking about, Roundhouse Studio, actually is that they didn't shut them down. They just moved all these people to ZeniMax Online. They will be working as a support studio for them, and they kind of did in the past. But the fact of the matter is that Microsoft, and I think that Matt Booty actually did say that in the internal email, that one of the reasons, not only, but one of the reasons that they are shutting down these studios is to, I guess, it's about shifting focus on big IPs and franchises, and obviously saving money in the process. But I think this is very telling, because like Tango especially was known for, but Arcane too, I guess, was known for not necessarily massive AAA games, but very unique experiences. Like look at Ghostwire Tokyo, or Evil Within, or Hi-Fi Rush, right? And I know that Shinji Mikami was actually responsible for these games, and now he's gone anyway. There's nothing Microsoft can do about it, but there is a pedigree of talent there that did work on that game, and these games will not be coming from the studio anymore, or any similar games. And when Microsoft was on a hunt for new acquisitions, I thought that they were chasing like these unique experiences. Phil Spencer have always been talking about different type of games for Game Pass, and to move Game Pass and everything, that Game Pass would fund some of these unique experiences that developers would not have to worry much about. Sales per se, because hey, there's Game Pass, and looks like that has changed. And you know, Microsoft, Phil Spencer, and other executives have been saying that Game Pass is profitable, and you know, it may as well be, because I think they reached over like 30 million now. So I'm sure it's profitable, but looks like it's not making enough of money for Microsoft. And I think this is the future. Like, you know, I've seen some tweets basically suggesting that it's not Xbox's Xbox anymore, it's Microsoft's Xbox, meaning that looks like instead of Xbox buying ABK or taking over ABK, it looks like ABK took over Xbox. And this is the thing, right? This is the future of Xbox. I was kind of hoping that maybe these changes would be slower a little bit and they would be more cautious. But hey, that's Microsoft, right? I mean, they don't care. You know, if there's a shift, it must be sudden, and they take no prisoners, and they don't care about anything else than money. And I think this is one of the reasons why Sony succeeds in console market, I guess Nintendo too, that you know, they do change, but that change usually is slower, and they introduce new technologies or any kind of new things, like, you know, slowly, basically introducing it step by step, kind of making sure that people get used to changes, that there's not a lot of anger about it and uproar. So, you know, that's the thing. Like, while with Microsoft, like, I was like, you know, I said in the past that, like, you know, we all know that there's more games coming to PlayStation, but I thought that maybe it's going to be you know, gradual. But you know what? Right now, I'm not really sure about that. I would not be surprised if like really a flood of new games would be coming to PlayStation. Now, obviously, there's some technical aspects of it. It's just kind of physically impossible really to port all these Xbox games on PlayStation like day one, like right now. So it's going to be a gradual process anyway, but I think it's going to be, I guess, faster process than I thought, right? So, I mean, at this point, I would not be surprised if we actually did see Starfield next year. I don't think it's coming this year, because even Jez Corden did say a couple of weeks ago that they know for a fact that Starfield is not being ported. There is no port of Starfield for PlayStation. But that was a few weeks ago, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they might have actually started porting that game right now. And, you know, if they did, you know, early next year, Starfield could be on PlayStation. I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying that it's technically possible, I guess, right? So yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I'm not really going to tell you how to feel about Xbox, and I know that a lot of people actually shifting to PlayStation or PC. I mean, I'm on PC day one, I mean, like every day anyway, so it doesn't really, you know, bother me that much. But, you know, the fact of the matter is that, like, I don't necessarily think that even these hardware plans, I mean, I'm not trying to say that there won't be a new Xbox. I'm sure there will be new Xbox, but I just don't think it's going to matter that much anymore, because if they really will start putting games like, I guess starting from next year, maybe even this year, who knows, maybe some smaller titles that are easier to port, because don't expect Starfield to be ported in, like, you know, 3-4 weeks, for 3 months, right? It's going to take a while, probably around a year, like a full porting process plus testing and, you know, quality control and everything, right? So it takes time, especially that kind of big title, right? So, but some smaller titles, why not? I mean, you know, Hi-Fi Rush, games like Hi-Fi Rush on Pentiment are probably quite easy to port because they are small. So, I mean, Hellblade 2, it's coming out in 2 weeks. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Hellblade 2 would come to PlayStation like even this year, because it's not necessarily like a massive big game, right? So listen, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like Microsoft shifting to the more multi-platform kind of strategy doesn't really bother me that much, to be honest with you, right? I mean, if they don't care about selling Xbox per se, I mean, you know, I will keep using Xbox until it offers me games. If there won't be any games, or there won't be any Xbox console, new Xbox console, then I'll just stick to PC, right? I mean, you know, I've got all these games available on PC anyway, and I play them anyway. But yeah, it may be easier approach for Microsoft to actually make money, and I understand it makes sense. You know, PlayStation has a huge install base already. Switch 2 is on the horizon, so that console is going to be selling like crazy too. So I mean, expect a lot of Xbox ports for Switch 2 as well, and so we'll see how that goes. That's what's happening, guys. The only thing, like I said, is that there won't be too much focus on smaller games, I'm afraid. So these unique titles, there's probably going to be less of them. Some people even say that games like Perfect Dark, which is a rather single-player game, is actually in trouble. That there's been some reports of State of Decay being, you know, in some development hell too. And you know, Hellblade 2 is actually coming out, but it's a small team, so who knows what's going to happen with Ninja Theory. I'm just saying what other people say, right? I mean, at the end of the day, who knows? But listen, at least they did ship a new game. But you know, Tango did ship Hi-Fi Rush and Ghostwire Tokyo, which were good games, and they still closed them down. So I don't know, guys. It is what it is. Microsoft Xbox is going multiplayer full on ahead, but what's going to come out of this in the end? What's the future for Xbox as a console? Yeah, there will be new consoles, but you know, will anyone be excited about it in the future? I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, guys, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.